The NATJOINTS has conducted a state of readiness walkabout at the Cape Town International Convention Centre, where the first sitting of the National Assembly will take place.
And they're briefing the members of the media now. Let's listen in.
Today's briefing is taking care of or cognizance of the plan that is of the Prof joints and the NATJOINTS. The inner perimeter is another area that is also being undertaken by the NATJOINTS structure. So these two processes are going to be complementing one another in the sense that they will be policed accordingly. Protest marches, we are having the way of dealing with them as long as they are done within the confines of the law. The second question, in relation to the figures of resources, they are adequate. All that I can say is that we are going to deploy adequately to respond to any incident or any eventuality. Unfortunately, in terms of the numbers, I will not be able to divulge that or to even say to you we are going to have 500 and when anything else happens, you see 1,000. So can I then say we will have enough to respond? It will only depend on what comes to play and will respond accordingly. As my colleague have already indicated, that the incident of last night will be responded to by the now not the Prof Joint co-chairperson, but the Provincial Commissioner of the Western Cape. Colleague?
Thank you, General. The chairs, NATJOINTS chairs and the co-chairs. It is with heavy heart that we lost one of our members yesterday. The only operation that is happening in the country is Operation Chanela. There is no other operations where whatever we do is on Operation Chanela. They were doing stop and search when they saw this person was walking suspiciously, and as they were trying to stop him and start searching him, that's when the shooting started. As you know, most of our areas are not always with sufficient lighting, which made it a little bit difficult to pursue him to the extent that you could find him. But the investigation continues. We are requesting the community to come forward and assist us to apprehend and the one that killed our member was actually doing the service to the state. We will be by tomorrow visiting the family because it's so sad that such a young man who is now lost his life because somebody did not respect the law.
All right, thank you so much, PC. We do have an online question from Hajra. She says, afternoon, tomorrow is a crucial day in SA's constitutional democracy. Please, I commend the NATJOINTS for its apparent sterling work in stemming any political unrest that threatened to disturb this year's contested election. First question, how did NATJOINTS manage this? Secondly, what is the threat assessment for tomorrow in Cape Town and KZN and elsewhere as SA prepares to elect a president?
Okay.
So that question will be responded to by the NATJOINTS co-chair. She will confirm that the country has been stable and voting took place in a relatively stable environment. Over to you, General.
Thank you very much once more, Brigadier. I think it is comforting to get the feedback that you have just read, but just to reiterate that NATJOINTS will want to take this opportunity to also thank the South Africans for their continued support in ensuring that the country is stable. That is how we managed to have a safe and secure environment, and we will always respond accordingly given the opportunity. But I must say, and I must also thank the community and the South African citizens for their cooperation with the law, and want to request them that they should continue with that kind of behavior. That is only way to take our country forward. It is just unfortunate on the issues that the provincial commissioner has outlined how it happened, and we want to make an appeal to our citizens to continue to respect the law and respect the life of the law enforcement, because they are there to ensure their safety. But this continuous killing and attack on members, it is one area that is very concerning, and it is cannot be condoned in any way. On the threat assessment, just to reiterate that our operations are intelligence driven. Every time before we deploy, before we plan, our planning are done with very care of what is lying on the intelligence threat assessment. Therefore, all the 9 provinces, we do observe the threat assessment and we deploy accordingly. Thus, say we did receive intelligence for both provinces and many other provinces in the country. Our other 7 provinces, we did receive the threat assessment and we respond according to the threat assessment that we have received. So I cannot at this point indicate that we have received this threat or we did not receive that threat, because that is a moving target. It is continuously. Every time when there is a new information that we receive, we allow our intelligence communities to assess and to interpret it for the operatives, and we then deploy accordingly. So threat assessment is done all the way before we can do any deployment. Thank you. Online.
Thank you, General. Any other questions, colleagues? This is the last round. If there's nothing, this concludes our media briefing. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And we'll see you tomorrow. We will be here quite early with the NATJOINTS co-chairs having a word. We'll start.
All right, those are live visuals there from the Western Cape, where the NATJOINTS has just concluded its briefing. Now, this briefing comes after the walkabout that they had a bit earlier, just on the security state of readiness, as you would have heard from some of the journalists there, among them being Hashra, asking, are you indeed ready for a very important event that's taking place tomorrow in our constitutional democracy? And it seems NATJOINTS is very much ready for that.
And saying that this is still part of the national and provincial elections plan. They're now in the 3rd phase of this particular plan, and also saying that the Western Cape Provincial Legislature already took place today in a safe and secure environment. And remember, that particular sitting there also re-electing Alan Winde as the Premier of the Western Cape.
And they also stated that members of the media, our integrated safety and security plan is in place, and all critical role players are ready to execute their various responsibilities as per their mandate. So indeed, it seems they're quite confident that they'll be part of a very smooth operation tomorrow.
And of course, we will bring you then more details as these stories develop. Remember, lots of moving parts today. There's still that EFF briefing. There's still an NEC meeting, especially NEC meeting that is currently taking place as well in the Western Cape. So we will bring you developments there as soon as they become available.